My name is Tennille Toslin, and I am doing my presentation on Is the Tourism Industry Negatively Affecting National Parks? National parks contain over 84 million acres of land. Over 281 million visitors visit the parks each year, and over 278 threatened or endangered species reside in the parks. Unmonitored visitation allows park tourists to unknowingly overuse the land, landscapes, and historical sites, causing degradation. Overcrowding not only has the potential to negatively affect the environment, but it also affects the visitor's overall experience. When tourists are around too many other tourists, they can become annoyed, and this can take away from their overall experience. There are two main types of tourists. The first is a hard ecotourist, which usually travel in smaller groups for an extended period of time. They have a strong sense of environmental commitment, and they usually take part in more physical activity. The second is a soft ecotourist, which is someone who is less invested in the environment around them. Soft ecotourists want to enjoy the aesthetic beauty of the park while still being accommodated with all of the normal physical comforts, such as picnic tables, bathrooms, and park buildings. They also tend to have a greater physical impact on the land because they are not as well informed. No matter how conscientious one is about their actions, all tourists have some degree of impact on the locations to which they travel. Many tour companies run events such as helicopter tours, plane tours, boat tours, and snowmobile tours. These tours create a lot of noise, which can disrupt the wildlife inhabiting the area. Many animal species rely heavily on hearing ability when hunting and protecting themselves from predators. These unnatural loud noises often disorient or distract animals, causing a change in behavior. The noises also disturb the natural aura of peace these parks give off, which can negatively affect other visitors' park enjoyment. A survey of snowmobile impacts on natural sounds at Yellowstone found that snowmobile noise could be heard over 70% of the time at 11 of the 13 campsites, and over 90% of the time at 8 of those sites. A study conducted on Olympic marmots indicated as they had been desensitized to movement, potentially leaving them vulnerable to predation. For wild animals, becoming desensitized can be a major threat to their existence. Consistent exposure to human interaction has been known to disturb the breeding cycles of animals as well as alter their natural behaviors. When these behaviors are altered, animal behavior becomes unpredictable, and in worst-case scenarios, the animal could become extinct in that area. Land degradation is one of the most impactful issues national parks are facing. This is caused by simple everyday activities such as walking, hiking, backpacking, biking, rock climbing, horseback riding, vehicle use, and car parking. Land degradation is when the quality of the land has been deteriorated. When park visitors stray off hiking trails and paths, vegetation gets trampled. Not only does this kill the plants being stepped on, but it also compacts the soil underneath. When soil is compacted to this extent, it loses some of its organic matter. The soil becomes denser as it loses air and water permeability. Water runoff is increased since the soil can no longer absorb a majority of the liquid. This compaction process also creates acceleration and erosion. Erosion leads to even worse problems. Landslides and avalanches are more likely to occur, creating a safety hazard and potential disaster. Through proper management and planning, national parks are hoping to bring themselves back closer to their natural state. Some ways the parks are trying to reduce human impact is by limiting visitors, limiting vehicles in the park, providing shuttle services to visitors, along with guided tours. Even actions as small as providing more trash cans in popular areas can greatly reduce the amount of littering. On top of all these positive actions, laws have been created to help conserve these areas. The Yellowstone Act became a law in 1872. This law actually turned Yellowstone into the first national park. Another law that made a large impact was the Wilderness Act of 1964. This act basically stated that wilderness areas or national parks shall be administered for the use and enjoyment of the American people in such a manner that will leave them unimpaired for future use and enjoyment. This law sought to protect and preserve these wilderness areas. There are many more policies just like this, all of which are striving for the same goal, trying to change the condition and looking out for the well-being of our national parks. Not all of the damage done is reversible, but this is a good way to start making positive changes. By far, one of the most effective ways to reduce human impact in parks is through education. Park officials have set up informative signs and museums dedicated to this. On top of this, the park and other nature-based organizations promote self-awareness campaigns, including the Take In, Take Out policy. These 7 simple principles are key to the survival of our national parks. The best time to educate the human population is to start out young. In doing so, one is ensuring that information will be remembered and practiced all through the youth's adult lives, and then hopefully passed down to the next generation of youth. Awareness is one of the most impactful and beneficial changes that is needed to ensure that our national parks survive in good quality for generations to come. An increasing demand on the parks puts the balance between preservation and use to the test. Unfortunately, as long as we continue to use these parks for recreational activities, it is inevitable that some of our actions will have a negative impact on the environment around us. All we as a people can do is try to reduce these influences as much as possible so our parks can continue to thrive for many generations to come.